pray for Wheezy, who's in Dom, for continued safe travel, and also for her dad that had surgery. And Dennis's mom also. She had surgery on her eye. So let's keep her in prayer as well.
Little Junior.
Little Junior, yes, I heard that he was in the hospital. So let's pray for the Garcia family. I'm grateful that Adina is here. I just heard about an interesting adventure, we can call it. I'm going to ask her a little bit later to maybe share that with us, because it's a miracle. It is a miracle. Amen. If you'd all stand with me this morning. Welcome home. Thank you for being here again. Steve, you doing all right, bro? You good? All right. Okay. Amen. You bow your heads with me. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to be able to come into your presence and honor you with our worship, Lord, and to just give you thanks for who you are. We're asking you, Lord, to be with us. We thank you for your continued protection over us and over our family, God. We just want to honor you today, Lord, because you have been so, so good to us. Rejoice in this worship today. In your precious name we pray. All right, Steve, I don't know how this is going to go. You with me, right? Lift up your hands, give God the glory. Don't be ashamed, for He is your God. Lift up your hands, give God the glory. Don't be ashamed, for He is your God.
Dios está en mi corazón, yo
Somebody bless the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. There's no shadow you won't light, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. or the week before, I said that all your wrong choices, whether they were right or wrong, they brought you here to where you are. And we have to be grateful for the good and the bad, however it comes. I was working yesterday, last night, doing a wedding, and at the end of the wedding, you know, I had all the family come together, and they got around the bride and groom, and we did "Don't Stop Believing," you know. That's why I'm wearing the Journey shirt. But everybody's wearing a mask, and it was really hard for me to gauge people's, you know, what they were feeling, except for the fact that they were still, you know, they were still dancing around. So I was like, okay, that's good. But at the end, the last song of the night, the groom pulls his mask off, and he's just like, I'm looking at him, he's just like, and I thought, man, did I play the wrong song? I don't understand. I don't know what happened. Maybe he wasn't happy with the selection. And I see his new wife go over to him, and she's rubbing his face, and I went over right away because, you know, 100% customer satisfaction. You want to make sure he's happy. So I go over and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, I'm like, "Was it a bad song?" He goes, No, you guys. And he said, "I didn't want the night to end." And I thought to myself, because I couldn't see his face, so I didn't know if he was happy or sad, and he doesn't have a lot of expression anyways, even if he wasn't wearing his mask. But in that moment, it kind of reminded me of how, you know, we have instances in our lives where, and I've said this before, it feels like you can live a long span of time within one day, especially if it's a good day. Sometimes that traumatic day, it's like, when is this going to be over? When is this going to end? And I started thinking about, you know, I can never thank God enough for the blessings that He's given to me in my life. But then there's always the flip side, right? And I've always thought to myself, when those moments come, it's so much easier for me to forget that He still has His hand in that situation. Why is it so easy for me to forget that God is there? As the trial comes, as I'm going through the mess, as we're opening that envelope and we're looking at the news and we're like, it's hard for me to just instantly remember, you know what? God's got my back. It's going to be okay. So, what I wanted to talk to you about today was, I was thinking about God's perspective. You know, because we don't know what He's doing. And I believe that He tells us that so that we can understand one thing. There's going to come a point when you will know. This is what His Word says. That's not what I'm saying. He says, you don't know what I'm doing, but someday, you see, all of us here have experienced that. Sometimes we're there and we're like, God, why? And sometimes the only thing that comes out of our mouth is why. Nothing else. We're not saying, thank you for the bad, Lord, because that's not our prayer. We're not going to, Lord, thank you for the accident. I remember writing a song after going to the scene of an accident that my wife had with our kids. And I remember sitting in that van, and the wheel was just bent. And we drove that van with the bent wheel for so long. Anybody know what? The struggle is real. But, you know, my wife, she went home, and I remember sitting there waiting for them to come and do something about the van. And I remember sitting in the driver's seat looking over and just being so frustrated. Just, Lord. Because everything that we do, the way that we try to live, again, I'm thinking about how in our brain, we overextend ourselves for God so much. How could this happen? I'm there and I'm literally like, were your angels on vacation? I don't understand. What's going on? But at the very the very top of my thought process was like, I don't deserve this. Y'all can let me preach. I'm there and I'm looking. I don't deserve this. I'm there and I'm like, Lord, now the kicker was that where the van ended up, there was a little church right next door. You think I'm looking at the church? You think that I'm looking at the signs? No. See, because God will speak to you if you listen. And I'm there in that moment, and I'm so mad. I'm just like, and now I'm thinking about how we got to put money into this thing and how that wheel's bent. Who's going to fix this wheel? This whole thing. Now, the reason that I bring this up is because we were already struggling. Can you say amen? Amen. We were already struggling. We were already, somebody say check to check. Ooh, I hope I'm preaching to something. Sometimes it's like that. And here's my wife, I don't even know where she was going, but she was going somewhere, trying to be a defensive driver, tries to move out of the way, still gets hit. And here I am, I'm sitting in this broke down van. Lord, I don't deserve this. Mm-hmm. And you start thinking, I'm your chosen one. Not really. You're there, you're having a conversation with the Lord like, I'm your favorite. How could you let this happen? And God does that face up there on the stone like, where are your angels? Why won't you see? But I missed because I started to break down. I started to have a little breakdown because I knew we were struggling. I knew that this was going to add to our struggle. I knew that this was going to make things so much harder. And I look over to the passenger seat, and I see where my daughter was sitting. And I see how far the door is blown in. And I'm there and I'm looking over and I'm just going, my wife got up, my kids got up, fine. Scared. Scared. But they got up, they walked out, healthy, still fine, still okay. My wife was like, I'm never driving again. And there in that moment. You see, sometimes when we focus on the wrong thing, you see, because I'm looking at the mess, I'm looking at how broken things are, and God's going, look what I can do.
Amen. Yes.
Oh. I hope you got that. We're there, and I was so focused on, oh my gosh, this is just going to make things so much harder for me. And God is going, look what I did for you. Because I'm not feeling God's favorite. Can I preach? Amen. I'm not feeling like God's favorite. But in that moment, when that other person made the wrong decision, God goes, I'm not going to let anything happen to your family. And God is up there going, boy, don't be talking to me about your struggle. No, and I imagine God sometimes they're looking at me going like, you got food? You had a good working vehicle? And I'm thinking about all the things, and all of a sudden I look over and I see this is where I missed it. All of a sudden I look over, and on the corner that my wife pulled into is a church. And there's that stained glass window with a cross in it. And I'm there and I'm just like, he's like, I am not here to take care of stuff. But sometimes if I have to, I will. I'm not here to take it. I'm here to take care of you. I'm here to protect you. My wife was hit towards oncoming traffic. And all of a sudden, the Lord started like opening up my eyes, because sometimes the Lord, He has a real talk with us sometimes. Sometimes He has to get real. Anybody know what I'm talking? Sometimes all of a sudden you're there like having this pity party and you're talking about like, I can't believe you just abandoned me. And God's like, and He's like, man, I put one hand on that vehicle and I put my other hand over your child. What do you think I was doing? And I'm there just, telling him how frustrated I am with His angels being on break. God's handprint. And I thought, I'm sorry. He wasn't mad at me. He would, God, it's like, you don't understand what I'm trying to show you right now. And all of a sudden, in that moment, I imagined God's hand. But I would not have seen God's hand had it not been for that terrifying moment. Had it not been for that, everybody say almost.
Almost.
Oh, I wish somebody could testify about almost moments.
Yes.
Because they happen. We're there, we're driving away like, ooh, that was close. And we totally miss it. Totally miss it. God's like flexing, like, for real? You're not even going to recognize, you're not even going to say, thanks, Lord, for not letting me. Come on now. We're chalking it up to our driving skill, like, oh man, defensive driver of the year, that's me. This happened because I am God's favorite. This happened because Let's close with this. God said no. I asked God to take away my habit. God said no. It's not for me to take away, but for you to give up. I asked God to make my handicapped child whole. God said no. His spirit is whole. His body is only temporary. I asked God to grant me patience. You think God said? Some of y'all are like, God said no. Patience is a byproduct of tribulation. It isn't granted, it is learned. Y'all got quiet on me. I asked God to give me happiness. God said no. I'll give you blessings. Happiness is up to you. I asked God to spare my pain. God said no. Suffering draws you apart from the world. It draws you away from the worldly cares, and it brings you closer to me. I asked God to make my spirit grow. Seems like a good prayer. God said, no. You must grow on your own, but I will prune you to make you grow much more fruitful. I asked God for all things that I might enjoy life. God said, no, I'll give you life so that you may enjoy all things. I asked God to help me love others as much as He loves me. God said, finally, you have the right idea. This day belongs to you. Every day is a brand new opportunity. I know you don't wake up in the morning and go, Lord, thank you for another chance. Thank you for another opportunity. Thank you. We don't wake up and go, thank you for a clean slate because we still got the backpack of all the stuff from yesterday. And that's okay. But he says,
My mercies are brand new with the rising and the setting of the sun.
Amen. Yes.
If you don't stand with me today.